Hello, Horsey fans! We are back. I know Rabbit's Disruption Megumi Gotomoru is going to be coming out soon. So let's go ahead, go over his kit. Let me change this to regular. Alright. And let's see how good he is. I believe these are base stats, subject to change due to grade, hippo, and character rank. Always remember, if someone looks like he's doing more damage, he's taking, he has less HP than what you have, that's simply just because they either have more characters invested, and or they just have more dupes in this guy, or have more potential in this guy. A lot of different things for this game that determine how hard your character's at, how much HP they have, and it's always kind of wacky to see. Sometimes you'll be seeing characters with 60,000 HP, it's like, what's going on? Enough rambling around. First thing I just want to instantly go over is he is a 2-type damage dealer. He does taijutsu and jujutsu on, I believe, all of his skills except for his ult is just jujutsu, yes. This is important because if you've pulled Mahito, he is just a straight mixed attacker. This means that when you take Mahito into certain events, like Tower, it doesn't matter if it's a taijutsu or jujutsu floor because he's always going to be damage effective. While for Megumi, half his damage, I'd say a third because his taijutsu stat isn't really that high. But yeah, his taijutsu stat is going to be lower. Or his jujutsu stat is going to be lower. So some events he could do way less, some events he could do a lot more. It's simply just what tower floor we're working on. Let's go into his first skill. Actually, we can just pull up these two real quick. Here's the thing about Megumi. He wants to always be in his third skill state, Rapid Escape. You can see with both of these, if Rapid Escape and Divine Dog are active, it taints the Shikigami combo. I don't really like how they both have the same name, but hey, whatever. Now, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It's not like Mahito where we need to stall super hard from ulting, just so we can get his 2 black flashes in. You can probably turn 1, just instantly do Rapid Escape. There's nothing stopping you from doing that, and there's nothing that's going to stop you. But it is, I believe, a 30 cost skill? 25. It's not the highest cost skill ever. It's not too bad, but CE is going to be a problem for Megumi, just because he has no CE generation on his own. For sweep, I don't think it's that big of a deal. If you have your Mahito, Megumi, and Teen Nanami, and I think any red attacker, aside from maybe Nobara, you'll probably be able to beat the event fast enough. Especially with combo ults, maybe, I think Nanami gives CE on his combo ult. Don't call me on that, I don't have the character. This Horsey doesn't, at least. So I would just be wary of that. Make sure that you are paying attention to his CE. So you can always keep his debuffs either up fully or, kind of half-half. When he gets into his Shikigami combo state, skill 1 doesn't really do anything. It's able to delay an action. I feel like that just doesn't really matter in this day and age, really. Because sweep floors, I believe, at a certain point, just nullify either in the 2nd tier or 3rd tier. And tower floors, I think above 60 or 70. One of those. They just completely nullify entirely. I know some special states still have full effects. I think his skill 3 is able to be used on tower floors, though don't quote me on that, I haven't seen it happen. His skill 2 is kind of like Nami's, where this is really the one you can kind of keep hammering home. It does 50% Jujutsu and Taijutsu by 50%, obviously, I just said it. That's a little different from Mahito. Mahito does red damage received. He's also red, just so you know. I hope you know that by now. We're kind of in a color meta. Early Legends. If you know, you know. I believe with how damage is calculated, this is going to be a more effective damage buff than Mahito's, just because damage dealt is additive, while Taijutsu and Jujutsu damage receive, or the buff received, right? Taijutsu and Jujutsu are multiplicative. They multiply, while the buff you get from damage dealt is just additive to what you do. I would say this is, one thing that Megumi does better than Mahito, but Megumi also does a lot less damage than Mahito. So I feel like, unless you're solely putting all your eggs in the basket, which is Yuji, Yuta, it doesn't really matter that much. Skill 3, Rapid Escape, this is the central skill which everything comes together with. Immediately, 40% HP of your character. Megumi has 40,000 HP, they're going to have like 16,000 HP. And they do a 50% damage cut, so their effective HP is probably more like 32,000. That's pretty good, considering the fact that I think the closest Shikigami that gets to that is the Blue Megumi's totality, which I think is 30 or 35%. It's not to be trifled with, it is a very powerful number. It means that Rapid Escape is not going to be easily dying, which means Megumi skills aren't really threatened by being targeted, by AoEs or being targeted once or twice. If he's continuously targeted, that's when it becomes an issue. However, if you're getting that, then you're just not lucky. Welcome to Phantomparade, you're not lucky. Go ahead and hit battle again. You're going to do it eventually, might as well start now. He applies attack nullification, 2 turns, 1 time. It could matter, if there's a nasty AoE coming up and you go maybe 1 or 2 turns without using Rapid Escape just to escape it. I could see that being a little bit of, sauce you could mix up with them. But I think losing out, because it's 3 turns, which means you're effectively completely taking away your damage dealt increase. If it's like a really bad AoE, I guess you could do that, but you're probably not going to be strategically doing that. It's not like a JRPG. We're not that intense about how we play the game. Disruption, as I was saying earlier, it says special, which means I'm pretty sure it doesn't get nullified by the tower floors and the sweet bosses, but I'm not exactly sure on that. It does 30% as your activation skill, which means in the first 3 turns activating it, it's going to be 130%. Just 20% less. I mean, for everything that it does, I'm pretty sure it's a fine compromise. I probably wouldn't even be mad if this didn't have this at all. Honestly, it's probably not too bad. Here's his ult. I don't care about anything that's there except for this part right here. 100%. Which means if you have 2 before, on his ult turn, he's giving 200% taijutsu and jujutsu damage taken increase. He's literally fighting with Gojo right now. He is fighting with Yellow Megumi. I don't know what it is about Megumi, and they love making him a debuffer, but this is crazy. It makes Yuji hit stupid hard. I saw a Red Sweep run recently for 200 million, where Yuji did 60 million on his ult. I think he was either A1 or A3. He's not super juiced Yuji. This is like, Dolphin Yuji. You get the gacha terms. He does 1000% jujutsu. That doesn't really matter because he's not really an attacker. It's a nice bit of damage, but it's not necessary. His combo ult effect, 320%. This is pretty good. Right here. Damage dealt and jujutsu stat. Toji does something similar, the Red Toji, where he does damage dealt and taijutsu stat. I don't think it matters so much, really. I'm not sure how much you're like, oh man, the 2 turns after I ult, I'm doing crazy damage. Red Yuji does that. But other than Red Yuji and, I don't know, Yuta? It doesn't really matter. I guess for Nobara it would matter too. Because she has the hairpin, if you're just doing kind of the pride, where you ult and then you immediately use hairpin. He has only 1 auto skill, Sag. We don't have like crazy number of auto skills, like Ryomen D Sukuna. 30 or more spawns Divine Dog Totality.
God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Yikes. I don't really know how to calculate how much HP Divine Dog has, right? Because I'm not sure what his damage cut is. With Escape Hair, he takes 50% of the damage. I'm just going to assume that Totality does the same thing. But I just don't know. It doesn't say that there. Correct me in the comments below if there is some sort of way to tell how much damage Divine Dog Totality takes. But as far as I'm concerned, I have no clue how much HP Divine Dog would have with, Megumi has like 40,000 HP. Now, should you summon for Megumi? This really depends on if you're a paying player. If you're fine with spending money, a little more money than the average player, like going to pity twice on Sukuna. I would summon for him personally, not really because you need him, especially if you have Mahito and Tsunami, more as he's just going to really help things be easier. He makes sweep runs easier, he's going to make tower runs easier. If you're not a paying player and you don't have Mahito, I throw like maybe 3 multis at him. I think he's good enough. I think his kit's tight enough. I don't see a reason why you shouldn't summon for him. Unless you have Mahito. If you have Mahito, as a free-to-play, they do something similarly enough to where there's not a huge need to summon for him. They're both making the enemy take more damage based upon, well, he does taijutsu and jujutsu, Mahito's damage dealt. They aren't the same thing, however, with Mahito doing way more damage than Megumi, we're kind of evening out a little bit. Obviously not compared to how much damage that, your other character is going to be doing, your main damage dealer. Well, overall, you shouldn't struggle if you have one of these guys on your team. Now, if you don't have Team Nanami, but you have Mahito, I honestly don't know. I don't think you should summon for him. Just wait for other characters to come out. If you're a paying player, again, there's not really a reason to summon for him. Sorry, there isn't a reason to not summon for him. He's just kind of good at what he does. He's just a good character. But yeah, I think that will be everything for today. Our next video is probably going to be a showcase for one of the anniversary units, and the video after that will probably be a summon video for Megumi since it's coming out on Friday. I think that's about it for today. Horsey Man out.